military expenditure remains the largest component of security spending in many of the economies around the world. But unlike this high-growth national security and resilience sector, it's now reached a level of maturity, so we're looking at how we can extend that experience outwards from that solid base. The UK, like many governments around the world, depends on the private sector for security and resilience, and increasingly will depend on industry investment to deliver this vital capability during a period of lower public expenditure, which we're going to be facing over the next couple of years. I personally believe passionately that the UK could easily become the number 2 player in the national security and resilience market, and we've given ourselves a challenge to do that by 2015. And I'll explain to you today why I think we're so extraordinarily well placed with the support of UKTI to be able to do that. So why do we promote the security sector? There's lots of different sectors of advanced technology in the country. There's lots of other areas of growth, but why particularly the security sector? I think there's something which I like to call the triple bottom line here. Firstly, it supports the diversification and expansion of the UK economy as the sector is forecasted to grow significantly in the next decade, thereby generating both employment and investment for the country. And there's a real contribution, I think, to be made by the security industry in this area. Secondly, this growth will directly enhance the provision of specialist capability, giving our government greater strategic capacity over security and resilience going forwards. In other words, we are an expert, and it gives us more expertise as we actually invest further in the industry. Thirdly, it offers potential efficiencies and cost savings to support weakened finances. I mean, we've heard a few times today about a very fragmented industry. How can we make that cohesive, and how can we gain efficiencies out of doing that? And there's a benefit, an economic benefit, to be had there. In terms of the security economy, if we think about it in those terms, as we said, the national security and resilience sector is one of the few industrial sectors that we see continuing to grow through these difficult periods. It's a market which I think the term Simon used is really shows inexhaustible demand. It really does. And if we think about the scope of that, and I'll try and give you some ideas, it is inexhaustible in how we can develop this going forward. The constant presence of disruptive threats to society and economies, terrorist-inspired and natural, if we think about the resilience agenda, creates government and institutional demand for preventive and protective security capability around the world. And the market is also driven by events. We saw a big reaction from what happened over Christmas with the Detroit attempt, and that creates responses that are required almost immediately from industries. We need to create a flexible and, in some sense, resilient industry to be able to respond quickly to those types of things.